Good morning, everyone, and we are so glad that you are here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am the Reverend Christine Dance. My pronouns are she and her, and I am honored to serve as the minister of this congregation. In this community, we celebrate our humanity, our diversity, and the boundless love that unites us all. And this morning, we are celebrating flexibility. Thank you all for pivoting so quickly. Last week, we had some issues with the water main that goes into the building and the valve that goes with it. It also turns out that we have really high water pressure that needs to be adjusted. I'm calling that overachieving. EPCOR, who is our water utility, does not agree. All of this needed EPCOR, and of course they told us that we needed to wait until Tuesday. So thank you for your flexibility, and thank you for your desire to keep everyone safe and hygienic. So while I was looking forward to seeing so many of you in person today and giving hugs, only the folks at UUCP here are our worship team and our AV team and a few family members of theirs, and we are broadcasting this service to all of you. I don't know about you, but it feels very reminiscent of COVID lockdown, but don't be worrisome. You will be welcome back in the building next Sunday. So now it is good to be sharing with you and reading your thoughts in the Zoom chat. Please let us know that you are here. And if you are watching on YouTube, we invite you to join our Zoom meeting, which will offer a little bit more connection, including the chance to share joys and sorrows later in the service. The link to that meeting is on the homepage of our website. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix strives to be a spiritual community for our time, one that is theologically diverse, radically inclusive, and justice-centered. Our doors swing wide to embrace all who seek a welcoming place. May our worship today be a source of inspiration, a comfort in challenging times, and a call to action. If you are new, a hearty welcome to you. Thank you for being flexible with us. We are looking forward to you being here and to getting to know you more. Welcome, everyone.
And I'm Benji Messer, music director. I use he, him pronouns. I'm going to open with one of our favorite hymns, and even though I will not hear you, I bet many of you will sing along. And ironically, on a day that we are all connecting through devices, Rev Christine had planned a service about artificial intelligence. And so in case that is a little scary, as it is for some of us, I chose a song about greeting new things in high spirits. Enter, rejoice, and log in. Enter, rejoice, and log in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and log in. And open your ears. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and log in. And open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and log in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and log in. And Christine, thank you for singing these with me. It really is
so glad.
nice to have another person. All right, last verse. Enter, rejoice, and log in. Enter, rejoice, and log in. Today will
Good morning. I'm Owen Lifshitz. I'm your worship associate today, and my pronouns are he, him. Join me as we recite our covenant, and to remind us of our COVID chalice lighting, I invite Karen Schultz, Rev. Christine's wife, to light our chalice. If you have a chalice with you, please light it with us. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to share our strength and fellowship, thus do we covenant. Please take a moment to greet each other. If you're in Zoom, we invite you to switch to gallery view, turn on your camera, and take a minute just scrolling through the pages and looking at who else is tuning in. You can send a message in the chat, either to everyone or to an individual, or just wave. Please don't unmute though.
That's page 1 of 2.
Yeah, Max, can you go to the second page? There we go. That's awesome. It's so good to see all your smiling faces. My cheeks actually hurt seeing all of your faces. Thank you for that. How lovely, how lovely. We do have a few announcements in the life of our community. We are coming into a very anxious election season, and we have 2 opportunities for you to explore how your actions, values, and mindset can impact this time and beyond the election. So first, on Saturday, August 29th, our partners at Corazon are hosting Rooted in Love. That's a workshop where faith communities are gathering to look at the paradigms of power and conquest that currently exist and looking how we can transform that into a paradigm of love and support. And then on Saturday, September 5th, the Unitarian Universalist congregations of all of Arizona are gathering for what we're calling a Solidarity Summit. This is sponsored by UU The Vote and Side with Love, our national denominations, where we are looking at how we can build relationships, change our internal paradigms, and be ready to respond to whatever comes after this election. And Lord knows we don't know what we are going to need to respond to. We are really hoping that 40 people in our congregation will go to one or the other or both of these events. I will be there at both of them, and services over the 2 weeks will be around the Solidarity Summit. So please look for more information in Compass this week. So now let us draw deeper into the present moment. I invite you to settle into your seats. Grab that cup of coffee from your kitchen, take a deep breath, and let's settle into the present moment of our worship.
Our opening words are from Cynthia Landrum. Spirit of life and love, we gather together in different ways this morning. From computer screens, from telephones, from car radios, we gather, reaching out across the wires, waving from a safe distance, to come together in religious community. From living room to front porch to car seat, we gather as we are able, ready to be of service to each other, to the world, ready to build the community of hope and of love as we face this bright morning. We are apart, but we are together, offering our love, our commitment, our hope, and our prayers in service to one another and this world. It is a new way, but an old way, that we come together in worship today.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me for Together Time from your homes this morning. My name is Miss Blake. My pronouns are she and her, and I am the Director of Children's Ministry here at UUCP. This morning, as we talk about AI, I think that word sometimes can be a lot for us, right? Like AI is often the villain in movies. It's often something that we're fearful of, but it also does represent a lot of things in our lives, right? It's being used in so many ways, and that we kind of can't help but to avoid it. AI represents such a big change, or a big possibility of change for us. As I was reflecting on this, I thought of an old story, kind of a classic folktale, and it really resonated with me as I was reflecting on this idea of AI and what it represents for us. The legend of John Henry. Maybe it's a story you're familiar with, or maybe you're familiar with a retelling of it. For instance, the television classic SpongeBob versus the Krabby Patty Machine, a retelling of the story of John Henry. Thank you. But yeah, maybe you're familiar with so many different retellings, but the story of John Henry was about a steel-driving man who worked on the railroad. And the railroad company bought this steam-powered machine that was supposed to replace the people, that was supposed to replace the workers. Well, John Henry challenged the machine, and the legend goes that for a day and a night, John Henry had two heavy hammers, one in each hand, and he drove steel into the rocks all through all of that challenge and beat the machine. But unfortunately, at the end of that story, according to the legend, John Henry later was overtaken by that exhaustion and died with the hammer in his hand, as the story goes. I love this legend, and I love some of the impact that it had on the people at the time. On the surface value, this story of man versus machine does beat the machine, but it costs the man everything. That's kind of a difficult story, right? That's kind of hard. But this story, or this legend, rather, inspired so many people at that time who were involved in the working class. This included many people who were formerly slaves, now freed men, freed people. This represented immigrants. This represented people who were often marginalized and working these same kind of jobs, working for the railroad and other big corporations at the time. But the Ballad of John Henry was sang and celebrated by workers of that time. I think it's so incredible that even in what seems like defeat, even in what seems like a hopeless situation, this story still inspired workers of that day. It still told them that they were irreplaceable, that even if there were machines that were designed to do the same job as them, the machines couldn't do it. The machines could not be as talented, as unique, as needed as the people were. As we reflect on AI this morning, I think it's important for us to remember that we're not replaceable. You know, AI is not something that can easily just replace what we do, what we bring to the table. Our uniqueness, our drive, our purpose, all of those things are important, and it's so wonderful when we bring that to the table. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next week at Together Time.
It's time for our offering, which we share every week with a partner organization. Even though you and our ushers are watching online, you can still give, either by clicking on the link in chat or by texting UUCP STP to 73256. During August, our Share the Plate partner is AZ Hugs, a local nonprofit serving individuals and families experiencing houselessness across the valley. Every week, AZ Hugs hosts a Sunday family picnic where guests are connected to resources like shelter, transportation, detox and rehabilitation programs, and mental health services. AZ Hugs also runs a Hugs House, a renovated trailer that provides temporary shelter for a family with children. And during our dangerous Arizona summer, they pay for motel rooms so families waiting for shelter can get out of the heat. If you believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person, or in justice or compassion, please consider donating. For all that you give, we are so grateful.
And while you consider donating, here's a little music about artificial intelligence. This is the main titles from the movie Blade Runner.
That's gorgeous, Benji. Thank you. We recognize that our lives are interconnected not only with water, but with each other. Part of our journey as a community is sharing our significant milestones, our joys, and our sorrows. Anyone on Zoom, please put your name in the chat. If you don't want anyone to know but me, please address the chat only to me and write private at the beginning, and I will go through and do this. There are so many of us that this is familiar. This was the way that we connected with each other for such a long time. It is actually odd to me, and I'm imagining for some of you just how familiar this is feeling, even though it's been many, many years for it. So while you're entering anything on Zoom, I did want to share a few concerns in the community. I did hear yesterday that Donna Talbot is in the hospital. She did have a fall and hit her head. I am going after service to go see her, and we'll have more information, but please send her and her daughter Julie lots of love, please. And I also wanted to let you know that our business administrator, Stephanie Bridell-Vigil, is having knee surgery tomorrow. She will be out for a week, and I know she is looking for relief of pain and also nervousness of surgery. I think she is watching today, so please send her some love and good wishes for her surgery tomorrow. So I will look and see. I've got a couple here, yay. A joy from Dale and Bunny. We're thrilled to have a visit and lunch with Mike and Eileen Paddock on Friday here in Colorado. I love it when our Phoenix community convenes in other places. How terrific. From Amy and Stephen Miskell, a joy. Stephen has been approved for a cochlear implant in his right ear. We will be told his surgery date this week. That's terrific news. That's amazing news. Excited for you all. And from Jess and Adeline, the sorrow is My maternity leave is over, and I went back to work this week. That is so hard. And the joy is I work from home, but also my mom is in a place where she can help out every day. It has been a wonderful watching our relationship continue to beautifully grow. What incredible family support. So glad to hear that. From Kim St. Clair, it is a joy to be here today after some challenges this summer and coming off of a much needed vacation. We are so glad you're here, Kim, and that you're doing better. And Melanie Nigro says, joy in power and water being restored after 2 days displaced from our beloved landmark towers. Oh, I feel like we're in solidarity there, Melanie. I'm glad for you as well. I've got a sweet hello from Shirley Karras, and hi, Shirley. I miss you. So glad to see you online. Jennifer Davey, a joy. My daughter Isabel is home after a summer of healing. We're adjusting. Oh, big hoorays here in the room of 5 of us. That's terrific. And from, I think that's all I'm seeing so far. And so glad that you all were able to join us, and thank you for contributing those. We always know that there are plenty more, and there it is right now. From Bill Snowden, so good to hear from you, Bill. Bill says, 2 more weeks until I can begin to put weight on my foot. Thanks for all who visited, and I'm still looking for companionship. You all, Bill is the most companionable person on the face of the earth, and you will learn something new every time you visit with him. I highly encourage a visit to go see Bill Snowden. And then, they're still going. They're going. This is, Bella says, gratitude, grateful for another day with my beautiful mother who has had serious health issues. Love to you and your mom, Bella. Okay. I'm going to give a little pause. And if there's any other ones, you all can see them in the Zoom as well. So may our joys and our sorrows, those named and those that are held in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts, help us to draw closer and care for one another. So now I invite you to a time of meditation and prayer. And I'm going to again invite you to get in touch with your body, to be here from where you are. And in the midst of all of the joys and the triumphs of being human, in the midst of the anxieties, the grief, the concerns that we have in our world, I actually want us to spend some time on this Sunday when we're talking about technology, fully connecting with our humanity. So I would love first for you to just connect with your breath. No matter where you are, just take a moment, sit back, and breathe. See if you can slow down your breath just a smidge. Feel it fill up a little bit more in your lungs with each breath. You may not be able to feel it, but I want you to get in touch with the blood coursing through your body. Remember that every single second, blood is circulating through your limbs, your body, your organs. Just take a moment and think of the rivers of movement that are happening, that are a complete miracle every single second. Now I want you to do an inventory of your body, actually your whole body. Notice what feels comfortable. Notice what is tense, what is sore. can do an inventory of it, but as you do, do it with gratitude for this body that has carried you through a remarkable life so far. Celebrate that you are alive in this body. Now I want you to continue consider that great Unitarian Universalist existential question is, do you have a soul? If so, what is it for you? Where might it be located? What color is it? What's its shape? That's long enough to consider a deep existential question. Now, I want you to think of outside of yourselves, outside of your own body. I want you to think of what you love. What is it that brings you awe? What brings you joy? What delights you right now? Big things and small. Hold those in love. And on the other side, what concerns you? What keeps you up at night? And when you are concerned, what gives you comfort? And finally, in remembering what it means to be human, we remember that we are never human alone. So what are the communities that bring you connection, joy, comfort? And let's send some gratitude and love for not going through this alone. In our compassion, in our embodiment, in our emotions, in our connection, we celebrate that we are human and that we get to do this awesome act of humaning with each other. Let us just take a moment in reveling in that. Amen, and blessed be.
Here's a song about returning to ourselves. I like the phrase, the real you. What would the real you do? Or what is the real you feeling? Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Join me. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return to who you are. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Born and reborn again. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Born and reborn again. Return again. Return again. Return return again, return to the home of your soul. Thank you all.
I would like to open this reflection by establishing that personally, I'm not a huge fan of artificial intelligence. From the environmental impacts to its need for reliance from humans. As a student during the time that AI has risen in popularity, risen in its importance, it's become a go-to option for many students for nearly any problem that they need. Whether it's just wondering something that you could easily look up, whether it's needing help understanding a concept, which is fair, or just getting all the answers for an assignment and having some kind of AI do it for you. The first thought has been to ask any type of AI. And even now it's gone further than that with now like AI studying websites, with AI humanizers to make any work you turn in that was initially AI just seem more human, so that it's not detected by the AI detectors that use AI themselves. And as I'm implied before, I'm not a fan of this rapid, unsustainable growth and reliance on AI. But I can't say I'm not guilty of using many of these tools, many of these websites, because it's the easy way out. It's the easy thing to do. And that's what I think AI is driving us towards. It's driving us to take the easy way out, whether it's in doing work for us that we just don't feel like doing, or in doing stuff we don't care to learn how to do. Its inevitable conclusion, if left unchecked, will be less real artists, less real singers, less real writers, and less real preachers. In conclusion, to answer the question of the service, from my point of view, eventually maybe AI could write a sermon. But I think the better question is, should AI write a sermon? And should AI be let AI get to that point where it will write a sermon, which I will leave up to all of you and Rev. Christine in her sermon.
Awesome.
Here's one by Jesse Wells, who I'm a big fan of. Young songwriter who's writing a lot. And I think this one has some bearing. Some nights I tell the sky our story. I don't have to say a word. Words are useless in the cosmos. Words are stupid and absurd. Some nights I tell the stars our story. How we raised intrepid generals. Taught them to fight for paper money, invisible lines and minerals. I tell a tale. Will the computer love the sunset? Will we midwife our demise? Can it calculate my love, and will it know how to be kind? You can't just rewind. Some nights I plead into the skyland. Some nights I scream into the void. Some nights I feel like I'm a man. Other nights I'm just a boy. In between the time, between the time, between the time I'm getting, you don't find out much of nothing. Ain't that something? Guess that's the fun in living. Some days I talk to the horizon. I do my damnedest not to swear. I plead with the horizon, it don't even know I'm there, but I sure do care. Some days I tell the sky our story. I promise her we do our best. I think that I might die from laughing at the infinite jest. I need some rest. In between the time I'm getting, you don't find out much of nothing. Ain't that something? Guess that's the fun in living. In between the time I'm getting, you don't find out much of nothing. Ain't that something? Guess that's the fun in living.
That is amazing. And I love to celebrate that Benji knows how to find the exact perfect songs for the most obscure of my sermons and services. It's wonderful. We're so lucky. Oh, you all. I love the irony that we're talking about technology in times when technology and utilities and stuff have failed us, and that we're doing it over technology. The metaphor is not lost, and both delights and concerns me, and how much are we manifesting in this world. But the truth is I've been resisting writing this service for a long time. I love to preach about current topics, especially where there are moral questions for us to consider, and AI has all of that. AI, which stands for artificial intelligence and is everywhere now, from our customer service chats to, I just learned, did you know this? The only way that you can turn off AI from your Google chat is to write the word porn in it. It will not go there. And otherwise, every time you Google it, AI comes up. It is in artwork for this service in Compass. It is all of the places. It's in our doctor's offices. It's in the places that we're doing business. I resisted this service because it was still evolving and changing rapidly, and I am nowhere close to an expert on this. And unlike many social issues of our day, there is not a clear liberal position on this. There is a huge gap between different audiences. Some of you are using it regularly and love it. Some of you are using it very reluctantly, and some of you don't know anything about it or are not using it at all. I already know some of you are waiting to tell me how I should feel about it, and I've already gotten several emails this week before the service telling me how many of you are feeling about it. But mainly, I didn't think I could preach on something where I was not only not an expert, I probably know about 10% of what I should know to even write a sermon. So I was resisting it. And then the Pope came in and he ruined my plan, that damn Pope. In late May, Pope Leo issued his first encyclical, which is a theological position paper, if you will, on AI. What an interesting topic for him to make his first major statement. And then you dig in further. The Pope was highly inspired and took his own name from Pope Leo XIII, who first articulated what is now known as the social doctrine of the Church. You see, that Pope Leo's first encyclical was about the Industrial Revolution in 1891. He reflected on the impact of the Industrial Revolution on society, the economy, and politics. What was he concerned about? Well, that machines would take human jobs, make us value human input less, and would create a world where the pursuit of the dollar would have a detrimental effect on the lives of real humans. Does that sound familiar? Now, that Leo was greatly criticized for this encyclical for spending time on worldly matters. But as this Pope Leo says, that he responded, quote, responded with realism and wisdom, saying that the proclamation of the gospel cannot overlook the concrete lives of people. I am heartened that this Pope also sees that as his role. So industrialization ended up happening, and of course it did change the world, but also what ended up happening were some limits to it. It brought us reforms as unions, labor laws, a 40-hour work week, weekends, and no child labor, so that you could say the Industrial Revolution created a moral response. So what does today's revolution call us to do? And I want to be clear that there isn't a clear line from the Industrial Revolution to now. We've had moments all along where technology has been seen as either the world's great doom or the world's great savior. When home computers came out, there was an outcry about being able to research without using a card catalog, about kids going out to play and not being able to think on their own. Decades later, I'm seeing limits on screen time for our kids, immediate access of information, and none of us can say that we're still on the bandwagon to resist computers. Well, maybe a few can, but they're more ubiquitous than what we thought they would be even. I think this is where we are with AI. As much as possible, even including you, Owen, who want it to go away, it is here to stay. The question is, how will we use it? What will be our checks on its power? And how do we still affirm our morality in the face of it? Now, Pope Leo's encyclical on AI is over 100 pages long, so it is absurd to think that I can sum it all up. But his main concerns are that the value of our humanity is not reduced to our productivity, efficiency, and capitalistic output. Instead, he calls on us to remember that we are humans who have value based on our mere existence. As embodied human beings, the question is not whether AI makes us better. The question he posits is whether our lives have meaning regardless of what AI does to our productivity. Now, the response from Silicon Valley was akin to, well, isn't that quaint? These computer scientists, who notably tend to be secular or atheists, don't necessarily have a framework of a God with original design or creative design. But some of my favorite podcasts who talk about spirituality and technology also found these Silicon Valley folks speaking out of both sides of their mouths as they talk about AI in some very existential, maybe even theological ways. Some of them call AI our salvation, even. They see that it will solve the issues of humanity and create a kind of utopia. Others, even some who are working on it, see it as an existential threat that will become so intelligent that it may take over the world and replace us as humans, even with dystopian endings such as the destruction of humankind. I would be curious what you all think. Is AI our salvation, our downfall, or like many things, the nuanced gray area in between? I would posit that how some people see AI is an indication of their worldview. For some of us, we would call that their theology or beliefs. So, for example, within the world, there's a term in AI for people who are accelerationists. They want to roll all the applications for AI as fast as possible, and their worldview or their hope is that the goal is that AI can make us something called transhumanist, almost a melding of the machine world and the human world, with the goal of having us live longer, optimize our productivity, and even prevent human suffering. One of the Pope's comments is that tragedy and suffering is part of what makes us human. Another term that's going around is called long-termism, and some see that as some kind of religion. It's the belief that people in the future have just as much value as the people here in the present. In other words, AI is one of the most novel things that we could be working on because it could allow people in the future to live forever, or to live without pain, or to have so much productivity, or to be their very, very best selves. They believe that we owe that vision all of our time and intent more than we owe it to the people who exist right now. Their debate is, where do we put our energies as a society? On the people who are suffering right now, or on the technology that could ease the suffering of people who live hundreds of years in the future? And, of course, on this day where we are aware of water consumption, this does tie into the topic of water consumption and the assumption that we'll have an environment that can sustain us hundreds of years. An issue that I know that many of us really struggle around AI is how much water the processing systems use to run it. And often without our consent, it's just running in more and more centers and more water. So there is the moral question of what end are we trying to solve, and what end may we end up creating? These are massive discussions and issues. So I would say that it is a topic for faith communities, because these are worldviews, existential questions about humanity, and discussions about the value and meaning of being human. It asks who has value, why do they matter, and at what cost. My challenge for us, beloveds, is to use the topic of AI as an opportunity to engage as members of a faith that encourages free thinking, challenges the status quo, and makes ethical decisions that reflect our consciences. It is especially to do this for a model that is managed by billionaires who are profiting off of this technology and making so many of these important decisions about its future. Personally, I don't think it's the devil, nor do I think it's our salvation. I often find it to be a useful tool. Sometimes I find it to be kind of eerily scary of a tool. But I am also clear that it is a tool of late-stage capitalism that has no inherent morality built into it. So, in the absence of a program that inherently has no moral compass, what do we do to create our own? And that's one of the things that I've done in my own use of AI. I've had to kind of create my own rules to say that I'm using it ethically. I have said that I need to make sure that the voice that I'm presenting to you is always my own. And when it's not, I credit AI for it. And I have to figure out what are the ways that feel authentic and what are the ways where it feels like that cheat code that Owen was talking about it. But my moral code is truly me making it up as I go along, as is yours, and as it is with my ministerial colleagues. It is an understatement to say that this is being hotly debated in ministerial circles right now. And it's even a debate we have in your own UUCP staff. We have people who use it a lot, some who aren't using it at all, mostly due to some of those moral concerns. And I want to be clear that despite the title of this service, no, a robot did not write this sermon, and hopefully never will. Like so many issues in this world, I turn to my Unitarian Universalist values to inform my perspectives. I want to explore how our values of love and interdependence and pluralism and justice, equity, generosity, and transformation influence my decisions, and hopefully yours. I lean on them to help me make meaning in a world that feels more and more technological and foreign. I lean on the ideas of covenant and community to prioritize my human relationships, and I do my very best to human in this increasingly inhumane world while still using the tools that technology have to make my world function efficiently. So for generations, our ancestors have created new tools that have promised to save us or threatened to undo us. AI is the one for our time. I think the real question is not, what can this technology do, but who will we become while using it? We have to use our own values, our own morals, our own conscience to make our own decisions. But it is irresponsible to just abdicate our morals to a machine. And while I understand what AI has to offer in our lives, I challenge you to still center what makes us ultimately human. AI cannot love, grieve, forgive, wonder, or choose compassion. It cannot sit beside a dying friend, laugh until it cries, or stand up for justice because its heart has been broken. Our faith reminds us that our worth has never come from our efficiency. It comes from our capacity for relationship, meaning, and love. Now, it is not reasonable that you will all reach the same conclusions about AI. Let's be honest, we don't have the same conclusions about many things, and this we start in wildly different positions in. But I do encourage you to be intentional about it. Consider not only is this useful, but also how can I use it to deepen justice? Does it strengthen community? Does this help me become the person I want to be? In a world increasingly shaped by artificial intelligence, maybe the most faithful act is to practice authentic humanity even more consciously, with more curiosity, with more courage, and even more love than ever before. Our technology is growing rapidly. May our humanity, our compassion, our justice, and our ethics grow even stronger. So might it be.
Thanks, Rev. Christine. I appreciate your authenticity in that, sharing about yourself. And it struck me as you were speaking, all of those comments about the future, you know? These thoughts that this machine that, or this process that dredges through images from the past is about the future. There's that quote from that film composer, Hans Zimmer, who says that artificial intelligence is a snapshot of the past being presented as the future. And I wanted to end with a song about the past and how good it is sometimes to be presented with the past. It's by Isai Barnwell. It's on lyrics by the Senegalese poet Barago Diop, who renewed interest in African folktales, in folks in the African diaspora, and is a wonderful poet. And he sings about, the song sings about seeing our ancestors' marks everywhere. Not just in people and in things, but in wind and water and fire. And maybe if all humanity is our family, then everything created by a large language model bears the marks of our ancestors. And we can feel, happy about that. And you'll hear in it, there's the voice of the ancestors in the wind that goes, ah, whoosh, ah, whoosh. So that's what that line is. Listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Again. Those who have died. Those who have died have never, never left. The dead are not under the earth. They are in the rustling trees. They are in the groaning woods. They are in the crying grass. They are in the moaning rocks. The dead are not under the earth. So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath and the voice of the waters. Those who have died. Those who have died have never, never left. The dead have a pact with the living. They are in the woman's breast. They are in the wailing child. They are with us in our homes. They are with us in this crowd. The dead have a pact with the living. So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters.
When our service ends, in case you want to say hello to each other, we're going to open up some breakout rooms and allow you all to unmute and talk with each other. It's a virtual coffee hour. We provide the hour, you bring your own coffee. You'll be able to join those rooms yourself, or if you need help, our Zoom host Katie will help move you. Rev Christine, please close our service.
Thank you, Owen. Thank you, Blake. Thank you, Benji. Thank you for an infinitely flexible team to adjust today, and for you all for being gracious and understanding and flexing so well as well. In the chat, I hope you will talk about how do you use AI? What do you see as your own moral codes? We don't need to decide as a group whether it's good or bad. It's how are we responding to it that I'm curious to hear. So through centuries of progress, technology, profit, and change, we consider to understand what has meaning for us as humans. For us, we continue to turn to the power of love and community and justice. In your explorations of the new technologies of our time, may you reach for what makes you feel more loving, more connected, and may your humanity be as humane as you can possibly make it. Go in peace, go in love, and go into Zoom rooms. Thank you all. Blessings, blessings.